Hello everyone, welcome back to Honeysuckle Roads. Tonight I'm going to try something. It is a dish that is mentioned in the show The Watcher. If you've seen my prior video, you know I'm obsessed with this show and I'm continuing a little series of videos about my thoughts and findings on this show, including this particular dish. And this is a dish that was recommended by Pearl, the perhaps suspicious neighbor across the street with the braids. And it is called Nixon Chicken. And let's see what Pearl says about this dish.
A good old-fashioned Yankee potluck. I really think you should be there. 12 o'clock. I won't take no for an answer. Okay. You wouldn't mind bringing a casserole? Do you have a recipe?
Not off the top of my head, but
Nixon Chicken, then. Preheat the oven to 425. Brown some boneless chicken. Put it in an 8x12 casserole dish. Add broccoli, a can of cream and mushroom soup, sprinkled cheese over the top, cheese of your choice. Myself, I prefer a nice sharp cheddar. And then bake for 35 minutes.
So I actually made this dish before for my family and they thought it tasted pretty good. It's just way more fattening than what they're used to eating because it has cream soup. So I use cream of chicken. Pearl recommends cream of mushroom, but I mixed it up a little bit. So I was curious why it was called Nixon Chicken. Was this one of President Richard Nixon's favorite dishes, or was it popular during his time as president?
What's going on?
One recipe through Google on cooks.com for Julie Nixon's Chicken Divan. Maybe Pearl should call it Julie Nixon's Chicken. And Julie Nixon was one of Richard Nixon's daughters, pictured here. And at the time, the dish was more often known as Chicken Divan, as I found out, and I looked into the history of that. So this image is one I pulled from yesterdish.com. It's a matchbook from the Divan Parisien restaurant in New York City. The restaurant was inside the now defunct Chatham Hotel, which looked very luxurious indeed. And this is the main dining room of the Divan Parisien. We don't know very much about the original recipe. It's a secret to this day, but according to yesterdish.com, it was probably a sauce mornay, which is a bechamel enriched with Parmesan, Gruyere, and sherry, so very rich. Other sources say hollandaise sauce was used. Either of those sound delicious to me. And more culinary history for you nerds out there. So after World War II, there was a huge amount of canned items left over from wartime. And cream of mushroom and cream of chicken soup were items that could easily be used to make a casserole. Casseroles boomed in popularity in the mid-20th century. And they could be easily made and taken to a social event, as we saw suggested by Pearl in the show. And so even in the 60s and 70s, and according to my mom, also in the 80s, I did find this Stouffer's ad from 1986 on eBay. Look at that giant broccoli. Seems that for a long time in the US throughout the 20th century, this dish was very popular and referred to as chicken divan and not divan à la française. And I made this even simpler tonight. Last time I actually did cook chicken breasts, but tonight I'm using some leftover Peruvian chicken, so that's even more in the Yankee potluck vein. I'm still using the same extra sharp Vermont cheddar since Pearl likes a good, nice, sharp cheddar cheese. And I'm using up this whole thing and grating cheese. And if more people knew how calming it is to just put all your troubles through a cheese grater, there would probably be more cooks around. So I went the very lazy route on this, and I used cup of soup cream of chicken instead of Campbell's cream of chicken out of a can, because I wanted to try something different. There we go, boiling water. So just so you know, it took me 5 packets of this Lipton cream of chicken to get it to be this consistency like the Campbell's one. Now it's nice and thick, like my waistline after I eat this. So now I'm gonna put the ingredients in the pan. These are gonna go in the oven. This is like a little dish, multi-purpose. It's not necessarily a casserole dish, but it'll do. So we've got our cream of chicken soup on here. Look at that, luscious. Now we're gonna put our grated extra sharp Cabot cheddar on there. Do 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 do. This is so fun, y'all. And I'm gonna top it with some crunched up Parm crisps, which are these nice cheesy crisps. It'll be fun to crunch them out. Again, a stress relieving activity. As well as panko breadcrumbs, but you can use any old breadcrumbs around the house. This is a potluck after all. And now we've reached my very favorite part of this process, where you can see all that cream and cheese just bubbling up to the top of this pan. Bubble, bubble, let's make trouble. And here's how it looks close up. So now we're gonna put our pasta on the plate. And now for the real moment of truth. Will this be a horror or will it be heavenly? So here's my final verdict on Nixon Chicken from The Watcher, aka Chicken Divan. I found this surprisingly delicious. The only critique I have is that it was a little too salty. I gave some to my coworker and he told me it was really good, just maybe cut down a bit on the sodium. And I think that's because I used 5 packets of the Lipton cup of soup, which is very high in sodium, although very flavorful because there is paprika, there is garlic and parsley in there, as well as other flavorful spices. I did like the Lipton cup of soup better than the Campbell's cream of chicken, which I felt was too thick, the one from the can. But perhaps I will try to mix the two next time if I make this dish again, or I might even be very ambitious and try to make bechamel sauce, maybe with some sherry. Long shot though. I especially liked the Parmesan crisps and the panko breadcrumbs because they added that extra crunch of interest. Good job, Pearl. So that's all for my video on Chicken Divan, Nixon Chicken. Stay tuned for more Watching The Watcher on Honeysuckle Roads. We're grading our cheese.